Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking Wonder Woman, and this is a quick update with Wonder Woman's box office. Like I said, January the 25th, which was a Tuesday, Wonder Woman crossed $390 million. This is the actual evidence for that. It made $390,608,373 as of Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. And internationally, it made $781 million, $208,373. Okay? Now, what this means is a couple things. And so we're going to discuss them right now. First of all, when we look at the domestic total, that means Wonder Woman is less than $10 million away from $400 million, and it's also less than $14 million away from the #1 superhero original movie back in 2002, Spider-Man by Sony, which made $403,706,373. Okay? Alright. The next very important thing, which we haven't really discussed, is that Wonder Woman in the past year is actually the #3 highest grossing movie in the world currently. Okay? #1 was Rogue One, which was last year, then Beauty and the Beast this year, and Wonder Woman this year. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is in the 4th position. Suicide Squad is in the 5th. Sing is in the 6th. Spider-Man Homecoming is in the 7th. Mona is in the 8th. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is in the 9th. And Doctor Strange is in the 10th. Just strangling on, just outside the top 10 is Logan. Okay? So, that's amazing that most of the top grossing films are comic book movies. Remember, this is just films across the board, blockbusters. And the majority of them are comic book movies. Okay? Beauty and the Beast is not a comic book movie. Sing is not a comic book movie. Mona is not. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is not. But all the rest are. Now, the other very interesting thing about Wonder Woman, which I'm going to show you now, is that when you compare Wonder Woman to the other DCEU movies, you can find out something about the actual foreign markets. I'm just going to very quickly go through Wonder Woman's foreign box office. So at present, Wonder Woman's foreign box office now stands at $390,600,000. Okay? Now when we look at its DCEU counterparts, that would be Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, and Man of Steel, we can determine what their foreign box office was like. So when we look at Man of Steel's foreign box office, you can see that its foreign box office topped out at $377 million, okay, which is less than Wonder Woman's. Alright, I'm just going to put Man of Steel here so you can compare. See, Wonder Woman was $390,600,000, Man of Steel $377 million. Batman v Superman made $542 million, which is significantly above Wonder Woman. And Suicide Squad made $420 million, again substantially above Wonder Woman. Okay, in the case of both Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman, these opened to opening amounts which were significantly greater than Wonder Woman's opening weekend. Okay, with in the case of Batman v Superman, it was $256 million. In the case of Suicide Squad, it was $133 million. Okay, Wonder Woman opened to $125 million. This is worldwide, internationally. Okay. Now, Man of Steel actually opened to $73 million, which is significantly lower. It's the lowest in all of them. So let's put Man of Steel over here. Now, here's the thing. When you look at the potential That is how much money is still left on the table with Wonder Woman in foreign box office. There's a lot to learn there, and this is what we can use as a guide to be able to tell us what's really going on. So if you look at the countries here, I'm just going to go through at the major ones, like say Australia. Australia grossed in a significant amount of money for Man of Steel. So it opened in Australia at $8 million, and it grossed at the end of, let's see, so it opened June 27th, 2013 at $8 million, and by August 11th, which is 2 months later, it grossed $22 million, roughly. Okay. Now, when we look at Wonder Woman in terms of Australia, we see that Australia, it opened at $5 million. Okay, and that was June 1st, and a month later, not 2 months later, but a month later, it has grossed in $24 million, which is bigger than Man of Steel. All right. Now, when we look at the two most recent movies for Australia, we see that Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman outgrossed Batman v Superman, who opened to more, $9 million, almost $10 million, and only grossed $22 million. All right. And it made less than Suicide Squad, which opened at $10 million, but grossed $26 million. Okay. So Wonder Woman is the second highest grossing in Australia. So the question is, has it finished its run? Well, maybe it has. Okay, because this is always 2 months. We're looking at a 2-month interval here with Batman v Superman, same thing. Okay, so the question is, has Wonder Woman accomplished everything it needs to do with Australia, seeing that it's not even 2 months yet? All right, that's the question. It's close to 2 months though, so there may be just a little bit more money to be made here. The other big market is Brazil. Brazil, it opened to 7 million roughly and made almost $34 million. Okay, and it's not completely 2 months in yet. With Man of Steel in Brazil, it opened to 3 million, almost 4 million, and it grossed in 16 million. So it did much more than Man of Steel. With Batman v Superman, it grossed in, it started at 10, almost 11, and made 36 million. Okay, 36 million, which is bigger than Wonder Woman's 33 million. Okay, but of course it opened to much more, significantly more. Okay, and then Suicide Squad, it opened to $11 million in Brazil, almost 12 million, and it made 36 million as well, like Batman v Superman. So Wonder Woman's 33 million, or almost 34 million, and Batman v Superman's 36, almost 37 million, 36 again, almost 37 million. So that they had bigger opening weekends. But the point is, Wonder Woman may still have a little bit more in the tank, which would be interesting. So it may not stop off at 34 million. It may actually have a little bit more to gross in Brazil. But the real kicker, the real thing that's really making the money here is China. You have to look at China. And Wonder Woman in China, this is Wonder Woman we're dealing with, it started off with almost $38 million it opened to. And so far it has grossed in $90 million in China. That is huge. Okay, Man of Steel didn't make that kind of money. You can see it opened to 25, almost 26 million, grossed in 63 million roughly. Batman v Superman with China, it started off at $55 million, almost 56 million, grossed in 95 million. But you got to understand, Wonder Woman didn't open with that huge amount, and it's already at 90 million. So my take on things is that Wonder Woman will end up making more than Batman v Superman in China, and that will be a huge accomplishment for Wonder Woman. Okay, so we're talking about there's still at least $5 million left on the table in China. All right, Suicide Squad did not have that opportunity to open in China. Okay, it didn't get the opportunity. Now, other big grossing countries are like France, and Germany. Okay, the other places are France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Mexico, okay, Russia, South Korea, Spain, and the United Kingdom, okay? And when we're talking about Suicide Squad, the UK grossed in $43 million, almost $44 million, from a $14 million opening weekend, almost a $15 million opening. That's Suicide Squad. Batman v Superman. Let's look at the UK box office. All right, Batman v Superman's UK box office was monumental. Opened at almost 21 million, and raked in $53 million. Okay, so that's the biggest box office. Suicide Squad was pretty recent. Opened at 14, almost 15, and made 43, almost 44 million, which is pretty impressive. Wonder Woman, when it comes to the UK, here it is. Opened at 7, almost 8 million, has grossed in so far 28 million. Okay, so it's less than Batman v Superman. Significantly less than Batman v Superman, and significantly less than the United Kingdom. I'm sorry, than Suicide Squad. Okay, when it comes to Man of Steel and the UK, let's see here. Okay, it started off with $17 million, almost $18 million, and finished off with $46 million. And we're talking about within the span of almost 3 months. Okay, so that's ridiculous. So Wonder Woman is the one who's grossed the least of them, but its term is not up. It hasn't done a 2-month term, so we can't really say, but its opening weekend is the lowest of them all. So that's very telling as to how Wonder Woman performed less than everybody else in terms of the United Kingdom, which is very interesting, I must say. When we talk about Russia, Wonder Woman in Russia, okay, it opened with $4 million basically and made $8 million in Russia. So that is very interesting as well, because Man of Steel opening in Russia, it started with 5 million, almost 6 million, made 10 million. Wonder Woman started off with 3, almost 4 million, made 8 million. So it's less than Man of Steel. With Batman v Superman in Russia, 7 million, almost 8 million, made 12 million, almost 13 million. And Suicide Squad in Russia, we had $11 million, almost 12 million, 25, almost $26 million. So Suicide Squad and Man of Steel in Russia actually did very well. Batman v Superman in Russia did well as well. So Suicide Squad did the best in all of them. And Wonder Woman actually is almost the least of them. Okay, let me see if Man of Steel even did better than... Yes, Man of Steel did better than Wonder Woman. So that's also very interesting. Okay, so it kind of tells you the response that people have to a female-led superhero movie in certain places. Now Mexico is the most telling of them all. Mexico, she opened with 8 million and has grossed in so far 22, almost 23 million. Man of Steel, when it comes to Mexico, started off at 9 million and grossed in $21 million. Okay, Wonder Woman again for Mexico, 8 million, 22 million. So she outperformed Man of Steel. When it comes to Batman v Superman and Mexico, we see that started off with 12 million and made 36 million. So that's more than Wonder Woman significantly. And Suicide Squad started off with 10 million and grossed in 27 million, which is actually in a ballpark with Wonder Woman. It opened to much more, but it's still in kind of a ballpark with Wonder Woman there. So that's not too bad. So Wonder Woman has a little bit more to make in Mexico, and there's a number of other places here. The Philippines, where it's been grossing in pretty decent money, and a number of other places like France, 16 million here, 4.6 million. Germany, 2.7 million, 8 million it's made in Germany. Okay, it hasn't been able to open in Japan and some other places, but at the end of the day, when you look at the money that's left on the table with Wonder Woman, there's still some money for it to be made, so that I believe, honestly speaking, that Wonder Woman will cross $400 million at the end of the day when it comes to the foreign currencies that still need to be accrued. So Wonder Woman still has a way to go when it comes to that. I just want to just input that when it comes to the DCEU, Batman v Superman in Japan, it accrued 16.5 million. Suicide Squad in Japan, it accrued 15.6 million. And Man of Steel in Japan, it accrued exactly 8 million, almost $9 million. So Wonder Woman is going to make anything between $9 million and $16 million in Japan when it opens. Okay, so it still has between $9 to $16 million to make, in addition to the outstanding money it still has to make in some of these countries. We said China, it looks like it at least is going to make an extra $5 million there. So you're talking about somewhere between $14 million and $20 million that is still on the table for Wonder Woman. I haven't talked about all the little scraps and pieces that it will still have to make. So that, in short, what I'm saying, this video is pretty long, but in short, what I'm saying is that Wonder Woman is at $781 million as of Tuesday, July the 25th. Now currently seeing that every day it grosses in on average about $7 to $8 million, and I suspect it will dip on Wednesday to somewhere around $6 million, and then probably on Thursday $5 million. It means that we're talking about it has an extra $12 million on the table. $1.2 million extra on the table by the time it reaches Friday, which means it's going to go up here by about, it'll be 392. It'll be 392 million by the time Friday comes around, and then Friday's gross will have to be factored in. So domestically, we're looking at Wonder Woman somewhere around 392 Friday morning, and by the end of Friday it'll be a different story. And basically that means that the domestic total is 392. The foreign total, I don't know what that would be, but suffice it to say that I see Wonder Woman really within striking range by the end of this weekend. Coming out of the 9th weekend, we're looking at 392, and you add an extra 2 million to that, or an extra 3 million to that. So I say coming out of the weekend of Wonder Woman, it'll make an extra 3 million to the 392. That would be 395 we're looking at. So about $396 million at the end of the weekend. That means it'll have just $4 million more to make by weekend 10 to pass $400 million. I predict, therefore, that in less than 2 weeks' time, Wonder Woman would have made $400 million. I also predict that within that space of time, Wonder Woman will be very close. By week 10, it'll be very close to $800 million, if not surpassing it. And then it'll be making extra money on top of that. So it only takes 2 more weeks for Wonder Woman to make that total. And also, I think in that 2-week time, it should open in Japan, and an extra $9 to $15 million will definitely deck it over $800 million. So just using mathematics and just looking at the performance of its other fellow DCEU movies, we can pretty much predict that Wonder Woman will pass $800 million, and it will also pass $400 million. But I do predict that it will take at least 2 weeks for that to happen. Now there's another thing I would like to talk about here, and that has to do with Wonder Woman's status and whether Wonder Woman is capable of chasing down the superhero origin film Spider-Man. Now it's very possible for Wonder Woman to make this $403 million. In short, what I'm saying to you is that because of the current performance of Wonder Woman at week to week and weekends, it's very, very plausible that it will pass $403.7 million, and probably it may end up at $408 to $410 million domestically. And internationally, it will make more than that. It could end up at anywhere between 412 and 413 million dollars, which would push it just ahead of Spider-Man, the origin movie, the superhero origin movie. And that would be no small feat. And what is very interesting about that is Wonder Woman, this would be a significant accomplishment for it to be the number one superhero origin movie, not only domestically, but also in terms of worldwide. That would be a huge accomplishment, a big achievement for Patty Jenkins' movie, and it definitely would set Wonder Woman in a position where the Academy needs to look at that and look at the Academy Awards for that. Wonder Woman's going to win all kinds of awards this year, and considering that Wonder Woman started off with a production budget of $150 million, roughly, that would be no joke achievement. Okay, like I said, Wonder Woman is pretty much setting up the Justice League, and I said this a while ago. I said that Wonder Woman could handle it no matter what they bring at Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman is single-handedly changing the status of the DCEU in the eyes of non-believers of the DCEU. Wonder Woman is significantly doing this. I mean, she is carrying the everything that has to do with the DCEU. She's carrying the image of the DCEU. She's handling the haters and the critics and the people. She's dealing a blow that cannot be undone. And the fact that she is going to be featured in the Justice League only orders well for the DCEU. And the more, I'm going to say this, she is so powerful. She is more powerful right now in the DCEU in terms of her status than Batman. Okay? She is more powerful than Deadpool. She is more powerful than Iron Man. She is more powerful than Captain America, the first Avenger. She's more powerful than Superman. She is more powerful than Batman. When it comes to box office, Wonder Woman is only second right now. And that could change to Spider-Man. And if she does become the number one superhero origin movie, she will be, there will be no king. She will be the queen of superheroes. Period. And you will have to pay attention to her. Warner Bros. Will have to pay attention to her no matter what. Okay? So, this is shaping up to be already that, because already we can say that that any franchise holder has to pay attention to Wonder Woman from this point on, because she's in a competitive superhero environment today. Spider-Man back in 2002 didn't have that kind of competition. Okay? So we already can crown Wonder Woman as the queen of all superheroes. She's got clout like crazy. Okay? Imagine Spider-Man's not working right now. They had to link up with Marvel, DC Marvel. Sony had to link up with DC Marvel to get Spider-Man to work. And Spider-Man's a reboot. And Spider-Man Homecoming doesn't even touch the trail of Wonder Woman right now. Okay, Spider-Man Homecoming is still in the $200 million bracket. And it may touch down at the $300 million bracket. It may. But he ain't going to reach $400 million. Okay, that ain't happening. So, what I'm trying to say is, the queen of superheroes, there is no king now. Spider-Man has been dethroned. Spider-Man held that title for 15 years, I do believe it is. 15 years. 2002. Okay? But he don't have that title officially right now. We know what's happening in the world right now, in the environment. Wonder Woman, and I'll tell you why Wonder Woman is doing so well. It's the political climate where women are being shamed, disrespected, particularly by the President of the United States of America, who has been scathing against women and insultive against women. And this is just a pushback on that as well. Okay? And this movie literally addresses those things. Okay? So I do believe that Wonder Woman is about to break the glass ceiling when it comes to superhero movies and create her own niche. And I think she's going to, it's inevitable, she's going to, well, whether we believe she's going to or not, she's already done it already, but she's going to demand respect. I'm talking about the franchise character that DCEU has is now going to demand respect of everybody. That's why Thor was like, Chris Hemsworth was like, Wonder Woman would kick Thor's ass. Because she's kicking Thor's ass at the box office right now. And money talks, bullshit walks, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to emphasize this. I'm going to keep a close eye and give you guys updates on Wonder Woman, because currently she is in a league all of her own. Not even Guardians of the Galaxy can stand in her wake. She is just, she is commanding respect. Okay, so when people came out and started congratulating Patty Jenkins and Wonder Woman, you know what? They really needed to do that, because it is proving, the box office is proving that Wonder Woman is that superhero. Amongst all superheroes, she is the number one superhero. Okay? That's what it's proving. You guys have a great one.